Welcome to the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network. Monday, May 20th, I'm Jeff Allen. The Americans Baseball Tournament gets underway this week in Clearwater, and joining us now, stepping over the fence from the Knightline podcast, is Trace Trylko. Trace, how are you, bud?
Doing well. Looking forward to championship week coming up in Clearwater for American baseball.
Yes, so let's chat about that. ECU is, of course, the best team in the conference in the regular season. They've been ranked in the top 10 for quite some time, and first team to win 20 games in conference play. Pretty much their tournament to lose, you think?
Definitely their tournament to lose, and really the benefit for UCF in this is that they end up on the other side of the bracket and won't have to immediately see ECU. I mean, 20 wins in a 24-game schedule is really pretty impressive, and for Knights fans, it's a good thing they don't see them, at least initially.
Yeah, and they, of course, are going to be opening up in that series. They will open up with the number 8 seed Wichita State. Meanwhile, UCF will play the 3 seed in Tulane, and Tulane is the top offensive team in the league. And they are headed up by Cody Hosey, who's one of the best players in the country, quite frankly.
Well, in UCF, really surprisingly, considering the ups and downs and their difficulty early on in conference play to get series wins, went to New Orleans in early May and took 2 out of 3. They lost 6-2 in the opener, come back, win 4-2, and then close out with a 5-2 win. So, you total those runs together, they hold them to 4 over, the 2 games that Tulane did not win. And again, UCF has some pitching, just they've been racked with injuries. So you just don't know how far they can go in a series of this nature, the conference tournament, where you're going to need a deep pen, and they just don't have a lot of arms. I know every team is thinking this, but you want to get that first game victory so you're not in as much pressure with a double elimination format. So they'll get another shot at Tulane coming up. They're in the late game Tuesday, which follows a 4 o'clock start for that afternoon game, and then they come on 47 minutes afterwards, whenever that game ends. I'm curious when I visit Clearwater later in the week why it is 47 minutes. It's a great mystery for me at this point.
At least they didn't say 47 minutes and 13 seconds or something like that anyway.
Well, this is true.
So one of the other matchups to talk about is the 7 seed Memphis against the 2 seed Cincinnati. And Cincinnati is a team that was picked to be towards the bottom of the conference, and they ended up having quite a nice season.
Well, yes and no. I mean, 13-11 in league play, but they're 26-28 overall. And I think, as you said, this is ECU's to lose. If you look at 2 through 8 after that, Cincinnati's 13-11, Houston 12-11, Tulane 12-11. UConn 12-12, UCF 10-13. Let's see, I haven't refreshed that, so I'm off a bit there. 11-13, but they're all bunched up. Anybody 2 through 8 has a real shot. And again, is favoring UCF in this bracket is they're on the side with Memphis and Cincinnati and UCF and Tulane. So you knock out Tulane, you move on to Thursday. You get a day of rest. UCF is in the more favorable bracket, but again, anybody 2 through 8 has a chance of causing some noise in this tournament.
And the other opening round will be number 4 seed UConn and the 5 seed Houston, who UCF just dispatched over the weekend. I know you guys are going to be covering that in depth on the Knightline podcast, but certainly it was a very interesting series this past weekend.
Well, it was really a microcosm for the season in many ways, especially the Saturday game. The series moved up Thursday, Friday, Saturday, to give teams a travel day to get to Clearwater. Of course, the easiest for UCF, just making the trek over from Orlando, but Sunday and off day. And they jump out to a 7-1 lead on Houston, and you think, okay, they're in cruise control there as they move to the 5th, and as has been the case in many games this season, the other team chips away, and next thing you know, you're down, and they got to rally back again, and then they get an 11th inning, 11-10 victory, a walk-off on senior night from a senior, Brandon Hernandez. So, high drama at the home ballpark, but really a microcosm of the season. They have the bats to put some runs on the board, do they have enough arms to close the door on some teams? That's what we're going to see over the next couple of days in Clearwater.
And UCF did finish strong in conference play. And how much work do they have to do in this tournament to make the NCAA field?
Well, that is a very good question. At the WarrenNolan.com, their RPI 44th. They're right there in that bubble mode, really just sitting there. And Coach Greg Lovelady said after the Friday loss that he thought it would take 3 wins, maybe 4. They get the win Saturday. So, if you read into that, it means it's 2 to 3 wins. Again, putting emphasis on getting that opening win against Tulane with a double elimination format. You lose that first one, your back is against the wall. You got to play perfect after that. So he's saying 3-4 wins. They've gotten 1. It means 2 to 3. I think they need at least 3, or they're going to be sweating it out, just like they did last year when they were on the bubble and they were one of those last ones out.
All right, but it should be an interesting week in Clearwater. Trace Trylko, appreciate you stepping over from Knightline to give us the preview of the week.
All right, anytime. Appreciate it, Jeff.
And now, like Trace, I, too, am wondering about the 47 minutes for the game after the first game, the start time on that. That's going to keep me up awake at night now. And as they get underway in Clearwater, the Knights playing in a stadium called Spectrum. Maybe there'll be a little Knights magic that happens with the stadium name. We shall see. Meanwhile, the American kicked off the conference tournament week with the announcements of their players of the year. And to no one's surprise, Cody Hosey of Tulane, the third baseman, who's had a record year, establishing himself as one of the all-time top hitters in the AAC, batting a conference-high .388. He leads the American in hits with 87, runs scored with 69, home runs 23, total bases 177, on-base percentage .484, slugging percentage .790. His 177 total bases lead the nation, and that's also an American single-season record, along with his 23 home runs, a terrific season for him. The pitcher of the year, Jake Agnes, the junior lefty from ECU, leading the American with a 2.06 ERA. The junior southpaw has a conference record strikeouts of 124 batters, which is 9th in the nation in 83 innings pitched. He went 8-2 in 14 starts, averaging 13.45 strikeouts per 9 innings. The newcomer position player of the year, Hunter Goodman, DH outfielder from Memphis. He's established himself as one of the top rookies in the nation, top 10 in the conference in batting average, RBIs, hits, runs scored, home runs, and total bases, as well as slugging percentage. The newcomer pitcher of the year, Devin Rodall of Houston, 28 appearances this season. He has brought depth to the Cougars pitching staff. The junior right-hander with a 3.84 ERA with 7 wins and 4 saves out of the bullpen. And the coach of the year, also to no one's surprise, in his 5th season, ECU coach Cliff Godwin. He led his team to a 42-13 overall record, 20-4 in the conference, the first time a team in the American has won 20 games. He earns his 2nd career American Coach of the Year nod. He also won it back in 2015. The all-conference teams were announced. The first team, we'll go with the pitchers. Mason Fieldley of UConn, Jake Agnes of ECU, Jake Kuckmeyer of ECU, and Clay Aguiar of Houston. And the relief pitcher on the first team, Jacob Wallace of UConn. The catcher is Jake Washer of ECU. First baseman, Joe Genord of USF. Matthew Micah of UCF at second base, his 3rd all-conference honor. Shortstop, Anthony Prado of UConn. Cody Hosey, as you would expect, from Tulane, is at third base. The outfielders are Alec Burleson and Brian Packard of ECU. Hunter Goodman from Memphis, the DH Spencer Brickhouse of ECU, and Luke Ritter, the utility selection from Wichita State on the first team. The second team, Grant Sherman of UCF on the pitching staff, along with Devin Rodall, Chris Durham of Memphis, and Caleb Roper of Tulane, the relief pitcher, Fred Villarreal of Houston. The catcher, Frankie Neiman of Tulane, first base. A couple of selections there. Spencer Brickhouse of ECU and Joe Davis of Houston. Michael Woodworth of UConn at second. Turner Brown of ECU at short. Jared Triolo of Houston at third. Ray Aleo of UCF in the outfield, along with John Tapa of UConn and Hudson Haskin of Tulane. The DH Christian Fedko of UConn, and the utility second teamer is Alec Burleson of ECU. Houston reached the Austin Regional regional final, against Texas in women's softball, and were defeated twice by the Longhorns on Sunday. Texas took down the Cougs 5-2 in their afternoon contest to force a winner-take-all nightcap, which the Longhorns also won 7-0. A pitcher's duel between Presley Bell of the Cougars and Texas' Miranda Elish broken open by a solo homer just over the center field wall in the top of the fifth by Caitlin Washington. Texas added 6 runs in the 7th to achieve the final score. Sunday's regional final appearance was the first for the Cougars since 2011, and the Americans' 8th regional final, joining UCF in 2014, 15, and 16, USF in 2014, Tulsa in 2017, and also this year, and Wichita State in 2018. 2 other American teams were engaged in regional play. Tulsa season came to a close Saturday afternoon as they fell to Oklahoma State by a score of 2-1, and in the that was in the Stillwater Regional. USF in the Tallahassee Regional lost to host Florida State on Saturday afternoon 12-1 before falling 2-1 in extra innings to South Carolina in an elimination game on Saturday night. Women's Golf Championship. UCF's team run was concluded today at the NCAAs, did not make the cut of the final 8. Coach Emily Marin talked about the experience for her team.
Yeah, we're obviously really proud of the team to get here to the national championship. I don't think probably halfway through the season we thought we would be here, but they showed just a lot of heart this spring. This team really came together, and this past week was an incredible experience. We've never been here as a team, and I think that you have to be here at least once to kind of get that taste for it. And all of this team is back next year, no seniors, so we have some great experience to show our freshmen, and it's just a great thing for our program to be here. You have to start somewhere, and I think we can build on this moving forward in the future.
In individual play, the Freshman of the Year, Elizabeth Moon in the AAC for the Knights. She was the top UCF scorer at 11 over. The SMU Mustangs are headed to the 2019 NCAA Championships after advancing from the NCAA Men's Golf Regionals. SMU finished 4th at the Athens Regional. UConn's Jimmy Herval tied for 2nd in Louisville, but missed a playoff opportunity by a single stroke. Memphis and USF, along with Cincinnati's Austin Squires and UCF's Kyler Tate, also just missed the cut. The Mustangs make their 20th appearance at the NCAA Championships, and their first since 2015, when Bryson DeChambeau was the individual champion. The NCAA Tennis Championships continue this week at the USTA Tennis Center here in Orlando with single and doubles action. On the women's side, UCS Valeria Zaleva was defeated by Cal's Julia Rosenquist 6-0, 6-2 in singles action. On the men's side, Gabe DeCamps of the Knights had to retire due to injury in his match with UC Santa Barbara's Joseph Gillen. They had split the first 2 sets, and DeCamps was trailing 2-0 in the third set. USS Alberto Barros Campos is taking on North Carolina's Benjamin Seguin, and that, of course, is taking place at the time of recording this particular podcast, so I don't have a result for you at the moment. In doubles, Trey Hildebrand and Bogdan Pavel of UCF will be in action on Tuesday against Baylor's top-seeded Jimmy Bendick and Sven Law. On the women's side, Zaleva will be back in action with Ksenia Kuznetsova against Jessica Golovin and Eden Richardson of LSU, and Marta Belucho and Fatima Bizhukova of Wichita State take the court against Sofia Blanco and Catherine Gulliher from Oklahoma State. In some other news and notes, the AAC will have 148 participants in the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Preliminaries taking place in Jacksonville as well as Sacramento, California, beginning Thursday. All 12 conference teams are represented. UCF center Taco Fall and Tulsa wing Daquan Jeffries were 2 of 11 players picked by the NBA from the G League Elite Camp to stay for the NBA Draft Combine that took place late last week. UCF's Aubrey Dawkins and Cincinnati's Jerron Cumberland were among those that also participated in the elite camp. UCF won its 5th consecutive conference championship in women's rowing. The Knights will compete in the NCAA Championships beginning May 31st. UCF Knights coach Becky Kramer reflects on the Knights' performance this season.
To be honest, it's been a crazy year. We've had races canceled, we've had things shuffled around, and so our team has really gotten used to expect the unexpected. And so when we told them yesterday things were moving up 48 hours, they looked at us, nodded, and said, okay, let's go. And now I don't have to sit around for 2 more days. And as things unfolded today, they'd come in the dock, and I'd look at them and they'd say, okay, what next? And they went out and they handled themselves very well and relied on each other as a team and just really came together. And it was awesome to see as a culmination of the whole season to be able to put out what we did today.
In football news, Memphis quarterback Brady White was granted a 6th year of eligibility. He started all 14 games last season for Memphis. He suffered a foot injury in 2016 after playing in 3 games at Arizona State that wiped out the rest of that season and all of 2017. And he also sat out 2015 as a redshirt. He graduated from ASU at the end of the 2017 season and enrolled in Memphis in January 2018. And just a reminder that I will have more coverage of UCF in the AAC Baseball Tournament coming up over at JeffAllenSportsTalk.com on my weekly podcast later this week. And we're certainly going to be all over it as well on the Knightline Sports Network, on Knightline with Andrew and Trace, and on the Sons of UCF with Adam and Mike. Boy, they had a lot to cover this week, and that will do it for the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network. I'm Jeff Allen. Thanks for listening.